Good day, everyone. Welcome to the show. Glad to have all of you guys here. Now listen, obviously I got a new haircut. Anyway, listen, I'm going to do a synopsis. Basically, it's a prediction of the main events that are going on in the world right now, out for maybe the next 6 months or a year. Maybe 6 months, maybe even 3 months. I'm going to predict what's going to happen with a number of these events. And I'm going to get started right away. First thing I'm going to talk about is Brexit. They put it on the back burner. Right? It's not gone away. Believe me, it's not gone away. It's festering. They're not doing anything about it. They're not talking about it. They're wasting this time. This 6 month delay. And the reason why they're wasting it is they don't have any solution to it. It's looking more than ever, it's looking like a hard Brexit. A hard departure from the European Union when this, I think it's October, is it October 1st or October 31st? I think it might be October 31st. Anyway, in October, looking more and more like a hard Brexit from the European Union. And this is going to cause huge ramifications for the British economy. It's already caused huge ramifications for the British economy. The British economy is very slowly sinking because of this. But you know, the European Union, they're desperate to hold the whole thing together. They never expected this vote. When they took the initial vote to leave the European Union, they never expected in the world that they would say, we want to leave. Totally unexpected. But once it happened, then they settled in on this idea, hey, you know what? If they want to leave, we're going to show them exactly how bad it can be. And basically that's what's happening. The United Kingdom is slowly becoming like a banana republic because of this. And it's never ending. It never friggin' ends. It never goes away. It just consistently is there right in your face. Brexit, Brexit, Brexit. But now, President Trump, he started these trade war tariffs. So we're going to talk about that now. So this is another problem I see in the world. These trade war tariffs, I do not really think they expected them to go this far. But once you start a tit for tat, and you guys don't know what a tit for tat is, I'll tell you a fun way to find out what a tit for tat is. Go on YouTube, put in Laurel and Hardy, tit for tat. They did an old film years ago, Laurel and Hardy, and you can find it right on YouTube. Just put in Laurel and Hardy, tit for tat, where this guy next door had a grocery store, right? And they had an appliance store. Laurel and Hardy had an appliance store. And what happened was, the guy with the next door with the grocery store, his wife kind of thought Hardy was kind of cute, you know, so she was flirting with him and stuff. So the grocery store guy got jealous. So he went into Hardy's shop and he broke something right in front of Hardy's face. He smashed it on the floor or whatever. And then he went, aha, so that'll show you. And then he went back to his own store. Well, Hardy followed him back to his own store, and he broke something of his inside his store. So then Hardy went back to his store, and the other fellow followed him back, and he started to smash something. They kept smashing bigger and bigger things. Meanwhile, while they were in this smashing business, there was this little crook that would sneak into their store and steal stuff. You know, it was the funniest episode. You got to watch it. It's hilarious. Really, it's hilarious. Anyway, maybe I should put a link in the description. I think I will put a link in the description. That's what tit for tat is. So America started this tit for tat war, right, with China. But I think they expected China to back down, and but China's tit for tatting them back, and it's getting bigger and bigger, just like the Laurel and Hardy film, you know. And this is the way it's going. And now it's disintegrating, and it's threatening to take the whole entire world economy and put it in. Well, we were going to go into a recession anyway. But this is speeding up the process immensely. That's what it's doing. And now the Chinese are threatening to cut off supply of rare earth minerals. Now, they've held back a little bit on that. From what I've heard, is instead of cutting them off 100%, they're going to put a 25% tariff on the rare earth minerals. So that won't have quite as big an effect. I think the Chinese are sitting back and waiting to see what America's next move would be, and I don't think they want to antagonize America too much. I think they're tempering the Chinese are tempering their payback to America each time. I think they're not doing quite as much as they could. They're kind of holding back, trying to hope that this will settle down. I think that's what the Chinese, because the Chinese have been on the receiving end, you know, for a long time. America is what's made them. They've made their fortunes off of America. And, you know, America's holding the cards, really. Honestly, even with this rare earth minerals, America still holds the cards. And China knows that if they cut off 100% of the rare earth minerals, they know what we'll do. We'll go get our own rare earth minerals. And then if they turn the spigot back on later, we won't need them. We won't need their rare earth minerals. We'll have our own. And they don't want that. They want to continue to sell us rare earth minerals. They want to continue to have us over a barrel. So, in truth, they're being a little bit careful, the Chinese are, in this trade war. They don't want to antagonize America too much. Now, we've got a disease over in Africa called Ebola. And in normal circumstances, Ebola would never make its way into the Western world. What I mean by the Western world, I'm talking about places like North America and stuff, because we have really good sanitation. We have our people in our country are not compressed in together in real tight areas with poor sanitation. We have good education, and we have good systems to control disease. Really, we do. We're privileged this way. We're privileged. But this is not normal circumstances with this disease, and it might represent a threat later, a few months from now, as the disease starts to spread. It might represent a threat. And what I mean by that, I still don't think it'll ever really make its way and entrench itself into the Western world, but it'll try to seed itself. And then it'll have to be squashed, you know, wherever it tries to seed itself. And wherever it tries to seed itself, it's going to create a tremendous amount of fear. I mean, this is a fear disease. There's certain diseases out there that are fear diseases, like rabies and like things like plague and it's a fear disease. And fear diseases, when people even mention the name of a fear disease, all of a sudden, they're frightened, you know. And that's what this disease will do. If it starts to try to seed itself in the Western world, it'll create fear, tremendous fear around it. But cutting through all the fear is the disease will, now this is my personal opinion, but I do not believe this disease will be able to really establish itself in the Western world because of the way it spreads. It's not airborne. It's not an airborne disease. Pray it never becomes airborne. But it's not airborne. And it is something that you have to have contact with the person, or have contact with something where they've left the germs on, basically, to catch it. And it's not extremely easy to catch, you know, but you have to understand what living conditions are like in Africa. For an awful lot of the people that live in Africa, their living conditions are totally different than ours. You know? Totally different. When we eat things, you know, we use like disposable our dishes, and we carefully wash everything in a dishwasher where the water temperature goes up to like 180 degrees, and we never eat after each other, and we live a certain way totally different in Africa, the way they live. It's totally different. And it makes transmission of these diseases much more easy. Plus, they have a lot of superstition in places like that, especially around burials and things like that, which makes it much easier for the disease to transmit itself. Right? So, we got that going on. We've got Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank. It's imminently getting ready for failure. And I cannot tell you completely what the ramifications and what the after effects or the aftershocks will be when Deutsche Bank sinks. It's going to be an earthquake to the financial system, basically. And so, worst case scenario, well, I don't even want to go there. Worst case scenario, it seizes up the world's financial system. That's in a worst case scenario. I don't really think that's going to happen that way. I don't think it's going to freeze up the world's financial system. I think what's going to happen is when Deutsche Bank goes down, very shortly thereafter, you're going to see the collateral damage within the different banks. Like, it's interconnected to all these different banks, like the biggest banks on earth it's interconnected to. And suddenly you're going to see a hole in these banks. They're going to have to come in with money and fill these holes Deutsche Bank creates. And I think that it's going to be not as big an event as a lot of these doomsdayer people out there say, oh, Deutsche Bank goes down, it's the end of everything, it's the end of the world, we're all going to die. No. That's not the way I think it's going to happen at all. I think Deutsche Bank is going to go down. It's going to cause collateral damage in the banking system. And then what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to do bailouts of certain banks that get in trouble afterwards. And you might be surprised, it might not cause as much damage as you think, even though they have an over $40 trillion on their derivative book. There's different types of value. And those derivatives, when you cut down to the chase of it and get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it's probably around $40 to $50 billion worth of actual money that is going to create holes. And that's going to be spread out. That $40 or $50 billion is probably going to be spread out over a dozen banks. So it's probably going to be like $5 billion with this bank, $5 billion with that bank. Now here's something to consider. Italy, not long ago, got in trouble. Well, you didn't hear about it anymore. There's a reason why. They're buying up the Italian bonds. The ECB buys the Italian bonds. Well, that way they're injecting money directly into the Italian economy. They just injected like $41 billion into the Italian economy, and nobody said boo. Nobody said anything about it. Nobody even hardly noticed by buying Italian bonds. Now, here's the thing. Deutsche Bank goes down, it's going to create about a $50 billion hole, maybe 40, 50, $60 billion hole. For them to patch it, it would be no different than what they just did with Italy. Just a patch, a money patch. And then the system continues running again. So I don't see Deutsche Bank as the problem that's going to take the entire system down and put us into a I think Deutsche Bank's going now. They're going to go down. And when they first go down, you're going to see enormous things happen within the financial system. Probably a very large drop in the stock market, but the stock market's already dropping. They're going to have to come in very soon now. The Federal Reserve is going to have to come in and really do something. Now, you see, they did a lot of talk to support the markets a month or two ago. They're talking and talking. Oh, we're going to be much more dovish. We're going to go out and we're going to not do quantitative tightening, and we're going to end the quantitative tightening program, and we're going to go and we're going to lower interest rates and so on. All this talk and talk about quantitative easing by the president and stuff. All this talk made the markets feel really good, and the markets have been buoyed. But now the markets are starting to slump over. Well, if Deutsche Bank goes down, you're going to see a big drop in the markets. The Fed will react. the Fed will also react to support any collateral damage that comes off of Deutsche Bank. So we're going to see a double reaction here by the Fed, and this reaction is going to buoy things back up again. But that moment that the Fed relents on their policies, on quantitative tightening and on raising interest rates, that's an admission of guilt. That's an admission that they cannot do what they said they do, which is normalize interest rates and also get rid of the trillions of dollars that they created on their balance book. It means that they're done. They're basically, it'll show the world that they can never stop stimulus, that they can never stop quantitative easing. And we all know that the direct result of them not being able to stop quantitative easing and not being able to stop stimulus, we know it's hyperinflation. And so that at that moment, that's when we're going to see, when they relent and the Fed goes back into these monetary policies, that's when we're going to see gold and silver start to take off. And cryptocurrencies are going to get a real boost from this too. Eventually, gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies are actually going to destroy the dollar. And it's not going to be cryptocurrencies that's going to do it by itself. And it's not going to be gold that does it by itself. But I don't know, for you guys out there who are gold bugs and you really want to see gold become the be-all and end-all and cryptocurrency be gone, you don't like cryptocurrency because you haven't got any, you know, you haven't got your hand in the cookie jar yet. Well, here's the thing. Gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies are like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Chocolate goes good with peanut butter. Well, cryptocurrencies go good with gold and silver. They all go together, you know, like a Reese's peanut butter cup. They really go good together. And, you know, the thing is honest to gosh, I'm a personal believer that everybody out there should have all three. Gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies. You shouldn't sit there and say, hey, you know what, I don't like this or I don't like that. You know, have some of it all. You know, put a little bit of it all away for yourself. Not just one thing. Don't just have all gold, for instance, and not have any cryptocurrencies or silver. You should have some silver. You know, and for you guys out there, it's all silver, you should have some gold. And you should have some crypto. And for you guys out there who only got crypto, you should go out and get some gold and silver. Quite seriously. And I would recommend, now this is my own personal opinion, is put the silver away first. Get yourself some real physical silver, put it away for yourself first, then go out and buy yourself a little bit of crypto. Silver comes first. It's like when you're having dinner, you know. You're having dinner, your mother always told you, eat your vegetables first, you know, and then you can have your dessert later. This is the way it is. But anyway, we got these huge problems in the world. Going back to the trade war, I see this trade war ultimately extending itself out much further and doing more and more collateral damage to the economy. We're headed into a recession that's going to quickly turn into a depression. Now, here's the thing, guys. This isn't any ordinary depression. We had a Great Depression back in the 1930s. They called the Great Depression. But that was a deflationary depression. This depression is going to be an inflationary depression, which is exactly the opposite. We've never had a worldwide depression, inflationary depression before. A worldwide inflationary depression on this scale and magnitude. As we're getting closer and closer to it beginning, I'm starting to see more and more what it's going to be like. I'm getting a better handle on it as we're getting closer to it beginning. Actually, it's debatable as to whether it's already begun, you know. But there's going to come a certain point a few months from now when they'll declare it. They need 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth before they'll actually declare a recession. And they'll never call it a depression, no matter how bad it gets. I mean, It could be a total wipeout, and they still won't call it a depression. They don't want to hear that depression word, which is an indicator of something more powerful than a regular recession. So they're going to talk recession, recession, recession. And as this recession gets closer, you're going to hear more and more recession talk. But what we're headed toward is a depression, an inflationary depression. It's going to be worldwide. It's going to completely destroy the fiat currency system. But, an awful lot of you guys think out there, where's this hyperinflation? Where is it? Where is it? You think it's a sudden thing that all of a sudden one day you wake up and we're in a hyperinflation and the dollar is like not worth nothing. An egg is like $10,000 for an egg. It doesn't work that way. It's not something that starts immediately. It starts slowly. We're already beginning it. You're seeing the prices starting to increase. What happens is, over a period of months, this takes months. This isn't something that just comes like tomorrow morning and it's here. That's not how it works. This is something that takes months to develop. It's slowly, insidiously, you see prices starting to rise on many different items in the stores, on almost everything. And as the prices rise, people get more and more of the feeling, I want to spend this money fast because next week the prices will be higher. And this fuels it. This feeds it as it grows. It's a slow thing now. It's something that takes months. It's like when you're planting your tomato plants in the springtime. You go out and watch them every day, and they seem to grow so slowly, you know? But you know, if you look at a few months and put a few months together, all of a sudden you're harvesting ripe tomatoes. Might take 2 or 3 months, but you're harvesting ripe tomatoes. It gets there, and that's the way with hyperinflation. It's very slow. If you watch it day by day, it's very slow. But over a period of months, then you can see the effects, which is extremely much higher and higher prices. Well, we're already leading in that direction, and prices are already going up. It's going to increase exponentially once the Fed relents. But that's when gold and silver are going to take off. They've been suppressing the price of gold and silver, and quite literally, all the prices of everything else you buy have been going up, while gold and silver prices have been going down in the opposite direction. And it's the only thing out there that's price is going down on. Everything else is going up. Gold and silver's going down. And it's a bizarre situation. When it ends, it's going to end violently. And gold and silver are going to go up rather astonishingly. And this is why, I think it was about 2 years ago, they put price stops in on gold and silver, so that to try to slow it down, so that they can have the advantage to come in and buy. This is why they do it, because they know they didn't put the price stops in because they were frightened that the price was going to fall. They put the price stops in because they know when this thing hits, they're going to stop the price every so many dollars. I think it's every $3 on silver. They stop it for like an hour or something. I can't remember how long it was. They stop it. They stop the market. This gives them a chance to get in and buy, and then they open the market back up and it'll jump $3 again, and then they'll stop it again, and then this gives them a chance, and they can do like 3 times in one day, and then the final time they do it, they don't have any stops left. They have to let her go, you know. And we might quite literally, I mean, after it jumps $9 in one day, it can just go unstopped then. And quite literally, I mean, silver could jump $30 in a day. In one day. Quite seriously, stuff in the markets can happen like this. You know? And so for all you guys out there who have been, I'll use the word languishing. You got your silver put away and stuff. You might have bought it at $20 or bought it at $25. You thought you got a good deal back then, because silver was $50 during the end of the last recession. And oh, by the way, before it went to $50, she dropped right down. I think it was like $8. It dropped. It can do the same thing again this time. It can actually drop a bit lower before it goes up, you know, because of the price manipulation. But, you know, I mean, it could drop like down to $12, quite seriously. But ultimately, in the end, it's going to end up triple-digit silver. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see triple-digit silver. You just got to wait for it. The problem is, when you see triple-digit silver, your dollar's not going to have the buying power it does now. So, it's probably going to be the triple-digit silver. The dollar will probably have lost half of its purchasing power. So it's going to be more like $50 silver now. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to this Saturday edition of the Financial Turmoil Explained. I hope you guys are having a nice weekend, and we'll catch you guys on Monday morning with a market report. Remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my other channel, it's called the Delta Report. It mostly deals with cryptocurrencies. By the way, I'm a big cryptocurrency bull, but I'm also a big silver bull. I love both. I love silver and I love Litecoin. Those are the two things, and because they're both silver. Basically, they're both silver. I love them both. I love silver. I've always loved silver. I love the way... I remember when I was a kid, I used to collect coins, you know. I used to collect silver coins back... I used to pick those silver coins out back in the 1960s, you know. And I didn't have much money. As just a kid. Like 50 cents to me back then was a lot of money. You know, I used to save a few of them. Anyway, listen. Thank you guys for listening. And give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.